going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome in to CHGO Bulls Podcast. Coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck Bulls_Peck, joined by my guys, Big Dave, BAWL Sports, Will the Go Gottlieb, perfectly coiffed, perfectly fit, Will_Gottlieb, and our pal producer on the controls, one and only Kevin Wells.
Hey.
Gentlemen, back for another round, buddy.
Gentlemen,
Feeling
great
about
to
it.
see you 3 days in a row.
How's it doing for you?
Good, man.
3 straight days of us.
Hey.
Taking it in, it's all right.
You guys have the best energy.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. That's
Wow.
a good way to put it.
Wasn't expecting to hear that.
Yeah,
That's very
Because
nice
the
of you to
season
say.
hasn't started yet, Kev.
Our energy shifts.
Give it time.
The energy definitely shifts.
Notice I didn't wear a Marquette shirt today.
Yeah, I
You
was,
did not.
I
You
was
did
waiting.
not. You did not.
I was fully prepared to be like, yo, if Kev comes back to the office today wearing more Marquette gear and makes another comment about you-know-who.
Attack me for just nice, plain, nice blue sweater.
Yeah,
Can't
no,
do it.
you just look very very handsome Chicago fall with that outfit
That
today.
is, thank you. I've been trying to think of what that was. That's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Handsome Chicago fall.
My man, I
With the
appreciate it.
rugged beard and
I
everything.
mean, not as handsome as Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dennis Rodman.
well,
'cause
that's fair.
no one is.
I mean,
That's fair.
come on. That's
Double take. Watch.
Oh,
Also, go watch Simon Says. It was
That's,
Yeah.
equally
damn,
terrible.
that's damn impossible.
I just said what at the car when I walked in. He was like, is that it? Or no, go. You were like, is that Jean-Claude and Dennis Rodman? Have you never seen me wear this shirt before?
No.
Oh, dude, this one
Oh, yeah.
is an
I
oldie.
also had no idea that they were in a movie together.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so
Will,
I
the
think
night
it,
history
I think it
lesson
came
today.
out in 96 or 97,
Yes.
so
Well, the 90s
you
Bulls
were
were
not
wild.
of the age to watch such a film.
There's a lot of Hollywood things that I've learned today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He learned about Ronald Reagan. Yes, this is true.
Here, give
Well,
us
I
a
knew
quick,
about Ronald
there you
Reagan.
go.
I just
Give
didn't
us a
know
quick
about his
close-up.
career.
Well, no, his
in
acting.
Hollywood.
That's what you said, Hollywood. You learned about Hollywood.
I know. I just don't want to
Ronald.
give the people the wrong idea that I'd never heard of Ronald Reagan.
Did you know Ronald Reagan was an actor, Kevin?
No, I didn't.
See? Hey, don't feel
Got
this
time for
bad.
What
Bonzo,
was he
baby.
in? Name his best 3 movies.
Okay,
Best.
So-
he was a terrible actor.
Young-
But-
younger. Now where's Emma? We need. She's gonna be like, who's Ronald Reagan?
oh, yeah. I actually do want to ask her this. Yeah.
Youths.
Wait, well, when Sarah gets here, maybe Sarah's
Yeah.
here tonight. We'll ask her.
Who-
about
what did
Ronald
we
Reagan.
ask her if she had ever heard of recently? And she was like, no. Oh, a Rolodex.
A Rolodex.
She didn't know what a
Yes,
Rolodex was.
She said, "Oh no, my parents have this." That's what she said. Yeah, my parents have got one of these.
I'm
Yeah.
weak.
You seen Rolodex, Kev?
I know what it is.
Come
I don't
on.
have one, though.
All right. As long as you know what it is, it's okay.
Yeah,
What's
I know
going
Goat
on?
Boy.
I know
Flip
it.
side. What's going on, Matty Legend? Everybody in the comments. Appreciate you being here. Hit that like button if you're hanging out on YouTube. Guys, Bulls basketball less than a week away.
Yeah.
Preseason opener is next Tuesday, October 8th. We are getting close, and it was day 2 of training camp today. Lots to get to. Injury updates. We heard from Ayo. We heard from Bulls free agent acquisition Jalen Smith, who I feel like has kind of been just like swept under the rug with everything the Bulls have going on this
Definitely
offseason.
under the radar. For sure.
Did not speak at the podium at Media Day. Not super surprised that he did not speak at the podium. But he did speak after practice today. He had some interesting thoughts. And then wanted to dive deeper into the modest Buzelis stuff as far as what Billy has said about his role thus far, sort of adjusting and adding to his comments about his role.
Yeah.
And then words from the horse's mouth himself, Modest Buzelis,
Oh,
after practice, talking about his role this upcoming season.
talk that shit.
Woo woo. But so, Go, do you want to kick things off with just the injury updates from today's practice, which sounded basically like all good news?
Yeah, it seems like everybody's trending positively. I didn't tweet it out, but Patrick Williams was basically a full go. It sounds like medical kind of pulled
Shout
him
out
out
Jason
here
Goff.
and there just to
Get out my brain.
monitor him and to manage injuries, but it sounded like he was feeling like he could have been going the whole time. So he seems to be in good shape. Giddey did full contact, full 5-on-5, not for the whole practice, but he did participate in some of the full contact drills. And then Lonzo did a little bit more 5-on-5 than yesterday, responded well yesterday. They're going to see how he feels tomorrow, see how things continue to respond, but basically trying to add more load to his, to see how he's handling that, whether the knee can sustain increased load throughout the course of the week. And so that will be kind of like a daily thing, I think, probably for the rest of his career, where they're just managing and making sure that he's doing okay. But there were no setbacks or anything like that. So positive news on the injury front.
Can you kind of take the us and the fans through what you're seeing at the 2 training camps, or what they're, as far as like what the offense is looking at and the new one they're trying to implement and what that kind of looks like?
Yeah. So the way the media works is like basically they schedule practice for a certain time and they say media after. And so depending on how long that goes, it could be half an hour, it could be 2.5 hours.
Gotcha.
We don't really know, but we show up, and then after practice is over, they let us in. Guys are shooting around, they're shooting threes, they're doing shooting drills, they're doing ball handling. And you'll see like, Zach LaVine and Josh Giddey over here, and Modest Buzelis is working on a jump shot with Peter Patton over there, and Arturas and Eversley are on the opposite side watching over, and maybe like some other player development guys are working with other players.
So Modest and Peter and Peter Patton working together?
Yeah, I can't remember if it was today or yesterday, but they were working together a little bit.
Teach that young boy how to shoot.
We don't get to see like any of the specifics of what they're working on, but we do get to see kind of like their post-practice routines. Yeah. And then as far as like what they're saying about it, that's kind of, we have the opportunity usually to talk to one or two players plus Billy. On days where there's a game, we just talk to a player in the morning. Billy talks then pregame. So that's like on game days, they have shoot around. On off days, they have practice. On practice days, we get to talk to Billy and players. On shoot around days when there's a game, we just talk to the player in the morning. Okay. And then pregame, we talk to Billy.
Have you had an opportunity to, after the game, like to talk to everybody you needed to speak to and find out what they feel about this new offense that they're implementing?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like they're just trying to work it out. Like they know they want to play faster. We've talked a little bit about like the 14-second shot clock and them trying to run a little bit more. One of the things that Billy was talking about today was like when you have DeRozan and it's more of like a half-court oriented thing, it's a little bit more scripted. Obviously, you can give him the ball, but they ran a lot of like Chicago action, which is basically like a dribble handoff from the corner coming up where DeRozan then gets into his elbow spot and is either able to get to his shot or make a play. That was like a staple of the early like semi-transition offense that the Bulls would get into. And then you have Zach go down, you have Lonzo go down. And so Billy said that he kind of had to script a lot more and call a lot more plays for some of the younger guys like Ayo and Kobe, who are now in these bigger roles where they have to initiate more offense to try to make reads a little bit more easy for them. Not just say, go out and do whatever you want, but say, here's the action or here's the, general like outline of a play, make decisions based on that, read and react to what the defense is giving you. And so I think this year they're going to play a little bit more freely and openly because they want to have that transition attack a little bit more. Obviously in the half court, they'll still be calling plays, but I think, they've talked a lot about experience with some of these young guys and Kobe being now in year 6, Patrick being in year 4, Ayo being in year 3, or maybe Patrick's in year 5. But those guys now are veterans. And so I think they're at a point where the Bulls are going to be asking them to take on a little bit more of that responsibility, whether it's calling the plays or just going. They need to be making those reads. And so I think that's a big piece of the player development for some of these younger guys, but it's also more opportunity, right? Like they're going to have to be creative. They're going to have to come out with, and obviously Billy is going to be involved in all of that. But I do think that's an opportunity or an area for growth that has been a little bit under discussed or underappreciated, is like the game management from the guards, not having to rely so much on Billy, being able to create their own play calls, obviously within the flow of what they're trying to do and the concepts that they're going for. But now not having that like DeRozan crutch, they're going to be the ones that have to come up with that stuff. And I think that's a really key area of development for some of these younger vets.
Very true.
Speaking of concepts the Bulls are going for, Chip W93 in the comments asked, when are they rolling out the Kenny Lofton and Adama Sanogo Twin Tower lineup?
Bump and thump.
I don't even think you can call that the Twin Tower lineup. It's more like the Twin Grizzly Bear lineup.
Bump and thump, dog. That's what they got. One's bump, one's thump. That's how we roll.
You want to get up and down the floor real fast? Send Sanogo and Kenny Lofton Jr. out there.
Oh, my gosh, man. I can't wait to watch them play, honestly. I'm very excited to watch, those two big guys out there on the floor, because it was such a pleasure to watch them go against each other.
Dude,
in Summer League.
Watching them attack each other in Summer League a few years ago.
You could just hear their bodies slapping against each other when they were in the post and everything.
Felt like great. I was, watching a wrestling match, Dave.
Big meaty man slapping meat. That's my man Big E said. Shout out to him.
Dude, Sanogo just seems like a guy who needs more playing time, man, because he was such a monster in college.
He was MVP. Attorney and everything.
Yeah, don't tell me you're a part of the like 20 and 20 Sanogo. Why isn't he playing? Crowd of Bulls fans, are you?
No, he's just showing them love.
Okay. He's not a star.
Okay, that's
Put it
fine.
down. Let him.
I'm not denying that he was good in college. I'm just saying
he does need more
the
minutes.
outcry of the Sanogo stands towards the middle and latter stage of last season. I was like, yo.
With this team and the rebounding issues they had last year, though, he does deserve more of a run this year.
Yeah.
I agree. They also bring in Jalen Smith, who we'll talk about a little bit later, who I think actually, when you talk about a team of misfit, pieces on this roster and how it's been constructed over the last few years, when you think about it more, and he addressed it himself today, Jalen Smith made sense as an addition to this team as far as what their new goals are.
Yeah.
As far as play style. So all good news injury-wise after today's practice. Amazing to hear that about Lonzo. Knock on wood. Hopefully we hear the same thing again tomorrow. Was it just Billy giving a quick relay on the Giddey stuff? Did you hear from Giddey today? Or
Nope, have not heard from Giddey.
Any other additional context that Billy offered other than saying that Giddey did do some contact parts of today's practice after doing all non-contact stuff yesterday?
No real updates beyond that. I think they're just kind of doing, as they said, like taking it slow. They have time here. It doesn't sound like it's going to be like this thing that holds him out long term. But since they have the time in training camp, they want to make sure that he's 100% ready going into the season.
Gotcha. And then not a injury update, but a Bulls roster update that happened just after the end of practice this afternoon. Bulls officially waived Marcus Damask. Another quote unquote local guy who's on that long list of Chicago or Illinois names that the Bulls are more obsessed with than ever before, which is saying something. I think I mentioned this to Goat and maybe Tony. Shout out Tony Gill.
Tony Gill's
here now.
Tony Gill.
Just chatting with him. The Bulls, or maybe no, it was the new.
Everyone loves Tony.
It was the new Chizen account that put out this montage of Bulls players being asked what their name is and then what their teammates call them.
Yes, that was hilarious.
Marcus Damask was in that video.
He was.
And then like 30 minutes later, it was like the Bulls have waived Marcus Damask.
That's the business, man.
Ouch.
Here today, gone tomorrow.
Ouch.
Also, Patrick Williams' part, hilarious.
Yeah.
Very
what
well
do your
done.
teammates call you? I don't know.
Pat.
But Will Gottlieb, what did you say as far as why the Bulls may have made that move with Marcus Damask?
I mean, I don't know this. It was just purely speculation. But
sure, but
they
it's
had,
fun to speculate.
They had there was a reason why they didn't sign Derrick Rose to the ceremonial one-day contract, is because they already had 21 roster spots.
This is true.
So now if they're down to 20, maybe they use that to give Derrick Rose one day. That was completely a guess. I haven't heard anything about that. Just totally a guess.
It's an intelligent one, though.
The dots to connect are there.
They're there. They're right there.
Or maybe they knew that he was not going to be the guy who they give their third two-way spot to, or their last roster spot to, and they just wanted to let
clear out some space.
Horton Tucker and Kenneth Lofton and Batum fight it out.
And to also be fair, I mean, they are very stacked at the guard position.
Yeah.
So it's like you're really going to have to separate yourself to make this team in any kind of way, shape, or form. And just didn't feel like he would be the one to do that.
What? So. Who was the one you were obsessed with, Dave? Who, thank goodness, is gone? I can't even remember his name.
Oh, Matty Legend?
No. Funk. Andrew Funk. Remember him?
Oh, baptized in the funk. My guy.
Oh, wonder what he's doing. I wonder if he made a training camp roster somewhere.
Who is that guy you were obsessed with? So glad he's gone.
It's so many. Like you got to be specific on here, Matt.
My brain with his name went. Delete it. I was having a conniption fit. Why is he still here? He was on the Summer League roster.
He was.
And I was like, why?
He was.
And we already know he's bad.
And struggled shooting, which is what he was supposed to be here for. So, you can't do that.
Not everybody can be a Matty Legend.
No, there's only one Mr. 99, brother. Don't get me started.
All right, still plenty more ahead on CHGO Bulls. We got to talk Ayo and Jalen Smith coming up next. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Are you looking for tickets? Look no further. Game Time is that best ticketing app, and it has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only the most incredible deals on the best seats, so you don't have to waste your time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. That is music to my ears as somebody who does a lot of ticket buying between sporting events, concerts, theater, comedy shows.
Flex.
This feature is amazing. I've already started to check it out. Looking ahead in the fall fall is when I like to go to concerts.
Oh, okay.
Like on non-Bulls game days. Usually people are like, summer concert season. I'm like, it's too damn hot.
I agree with you.
So yeah, I've been checking out this new feature, the Game Time Picks feature. It's amazing. Just another wonderful cherry on top of an already amazing ticketing app. They have that all-in pricing feature. Toggle on the all-in pricing so you can so you can see upfront the total of what those tickets will cost. No surprise fees as you move through that checkout process. Also, of course, the great seat views. Big Dave loves those. I love those. Panoramic view from your exact seat in the app, so you know what your view will be before you buy. Of course, the lowest price guarantee on because if you find a cheaper ticket price on a different ticketing app than the exact same one you got at Game Time, they will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code CHGO to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem that $20 discount with promo code CHGO. Terms apply. Download Game Time today because we're only going, golly, what time is it?
Game Time hoot.
A Game Time hoot.
Professional.
Hoot.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is also brought to you by, because we are sponsored by the Chicago Sports Network, the new home of the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox games. CHSN will broadcast more than 300 live games per year across the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox, and will feature a full lineup of original Chicago-focused sports content. They are also Chicago-based, they are also Chicago-built, and they are Chicago to the bone. And they're bringing it to every corner in Chicago across our 77 neighborhoods and beyond. At CHSN, Chicago comes first. Visit CHSN.com for more info on how to watch Bulls, Hawks, and Sox games all season long. And after you watch that Bulls or Hawks game, make sure you tune in to our post-game show here on CHGO Bulls and CHGO Blackhawks.
You darn tootin'.
Darn tootin' scootin'.
I haven't gotten an antenna yet, so I don't know what's going on. You know, I saw some clips that came out today of their debut, but yeah, I don't have an antenna.
You haven't seen it? Okay. Luckily we got one here.
Oh yeah,
it's in the other.
So we can watch the games.
So we can watch.
Good.
Hopefully the Blackhawks don't have the same game to say against us. We'll have to splurge and get another antenna. But I have one if we need one. I got one. I'm not using it. It's just at home chilling.
I didn't think about that. That could be problematic.
I got another. Like I said, I got an antenna at home.
I saw our guy Ricky O. Shout out Ricky O'Donnell.
Shout out.
Had a tweet today that was like, yeah, so I do have this antenna, and I wanted to tune into some of the the debut stuff of Chizen, and like I get the channel, but it's kind of like weird, like green, off-colored, and furry, whatever. It's like, anybody have any tips or best advice to like make the picture clear? And I was like, what century is it? I was like, is this really what we're doing right now to watch these games?
Hold it up right here.
Now.
Well, they are on RCN right now.
I did see that they just got the RCN deal done. So
yeah, they're coming around.
Those of us who are Xfinity customers,
they're making their way around.
Let's
go. Making their way around. But we'll be ready. We'll be ready either way.
I mean, it's free on the antenna, man.
That's true. Save you some money.
Yeah, but I'm not going to buy an antenna because it's 2024, Kev.
Well, like it's free.
But it's free.
But it's not free if I have to buy an antenna.
$10 antenna versus $150 cable bill. I mean, come on.
I've said my piece. Not a single other dime until
I think it's dope. Around here. I think it's awesome.
Like I said, I got an antenna. Don't worry about it. I got it covered.
Not like you owns the appliance store or Amazon where I would buy that antenna.
At all,
but
he does.
It's the principle of the thing.
Principle,
right? Okay, let's continue on. Maybe the most feel-good part of getting a chance to chat with the players after practice today, GOAT, flexing for you, is Ayo talking D Rose. He did also talk about, helping organize the Miami trip between the players and some bonding, and that's cool. We can get to that. But don't bury the lead. Ayo Dosunmu was talking about Derrick Rose after practice today. Kev, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, he's a legend. That's pretty much all I can say. He was probably the first, legend that I can say I really – like, he was a legend that I saw, Like, I saw him up close, and maybe him being from Chicago plays a huge part. But, you think of other legends, in other sports, like, Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, Michael Phelps. Like, I see them on TV, but I never had a chance to really interact with them. But like Derrick Rose, like, he's from Chicago. Me being from Chicago, something that it hits a little bit different because I saw him come from Memphis to his rookie year and to ultimately being the youngest MVP ever. So it just hit different when you had that connection, just him being in your city, because I always rooted for the Bulls. So his whole time here, I was rooting for him. I was rooting for the Bulls. I was rooting for Tibbs and those guys. So it was exciting, just to look back at his career, look back at all the things he did, how he accomplished. And like I said, when I was a kid, he was always going in the backyard doing reverse layups and D Rose. So it was.
Do you have a favorite memory watching him? Like favorite highlight of his?
Probably the game time 3 hit against Houston, or maybe the buzzer beating 3 against Milwaukee, and then the reverse layup on D Wade and LeBron transition. That was good too, because if you look back at that time, like the whole offseason, it was Bulls and Heat. Like everybody knew that was gonna be the Eastern Conference Finals. So every time they played in the regular season, like Chicago was always lit. Like the city was always lit, and it was a fun time because they was number 1 in the East. We had the MVP on our team. We had Joakim was an All-Star. Luol was playing great. We just had a great team. So being in the city and just enjoying that environment just bring back good times as a kid.
That was Ayo Dosunmu after practice today, talking about the impact D Rose had on him as a kid growing up in Chicago, watching him play. Yeah. Rob in the comments saying D Rose impacted the NBA in many ways. Brand Sense saying it hit different. Lords obey Ayo. Flip side, Ayo Argayo. So I loved hearing all of that. And like to me, it reminded me just how many generations of Bulls fans there are.
Yeah, yeah.
And like I was doing the math of like how old Ayo is.
Mm-hmm.
And when Derrick Rose was MVP Derrick Rose.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Ayo was about like 10 when Derrick Rose was winning an MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And like it immediately brought me back, especially when he said that thing about like, yeah, me and my crew would go out to the backyard and take turns doing reverse layups and saying like, D Rose.
Yeah.
I did the exact same thing pretending I was Michael Jordan in my driveway as a kid.
Correct.
When I was 10 years old watching MJ and the Bulls win championships.
Mm-hmm.
It's so amazing to hear Ayo talk about it that way as a kid from Chicago who watched D Rose when he was a kid and is now wearing a Bulls jersey himself. Man, I love that.
Yeah, I had the same thoughts, man. Just hearing him say that just kind of took me back to that same feeling, like you said, of doing Michael Jordan in the playground. Because, look, those are the two Bulls in the history as far as from my age group and from their age group were the guys. That's who you're imitating when you go out on the floor. You had your favorite players. I love Scottie Pippen. You know what I mean? Like, I have my favorite players. You love Dennis Rodman. But when you're out on that court and you've got the ball in your hands, you're imitating two guys, and it's Michael Jordan and it's Derrick Rose. That was just really cool to hear him say, like, because I'm like, dang, yeah, we all are the same, especially the ones who just love this game and love basketball. Like, we are all the same out here. We see the player that we love, and we see the greatness within them, and we want to imitate it just as young guys, young guys and girls. We want to imitate it, what we seeing on that floor and on that court. And Derrick Rose was that for Ayo's generation for sure.
Yeah, and he said at the beginning too, it's like there was Tiger Woods and Michael Phelps and Serena Williams, but like Derrick Rose was like here. I could reach out and feel him, And so I think there's that element of it too, which is why he captivated this city in such an incredible, special way.
Great point.
And so, yeah, I think January 4th is going to be an exciting day, an interesting time. But yeah, it's cool to hear from, the Bulls really lean into this, like, from Chicago thing.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to do that, like, let's hear about how those guys grew up feeling about some of these same players. So I thought it was cool for him to talk about, and definitely you could identify with it because he's like one of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that you asked him, again, flexing for goat, some of his favorite D Rose plays in D Rose's career. Yeah. And Matthew in the comments saying, I was so real for saying that layup against Bron and Wade. Best finish I've ever seen. Message behind it was everything. You always hear the dunk on Dragic or like the crazy high alley-oop from Ronnie Brewer against the Pistons or, this or that, or, obviously Game 3 against Cleveland in 2015. Yeah. He was like, no, the buzzer beater 3 to tie it against the Rockets, which incredible. Like, often forgotten, incredible D Rose moment.
That was pre-MVP year.
It was.
The buzzer beater against the Bucks.
Yeah.
And then that, I watched that in one of the millions of D Rose highlight reels that was going around the day he announced his retirement. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that coast to coast. Just
marvel at
shoot the crap out of Wade and Bron in the same play.
Because I don't know how it went in. I have no idea. And it's one of, and
magic.
This is why I know we were watching greatness on the floor. is because we rarely get moments where you hear Hubie Brown lose his mind. And Hubie Brown lost his mind. Oh, come on. Like, he lost it watching that. And so when the greatness of the announcers will tell you the greatness of what's going on the floor, as Mike Breen does with Steph Curry when he sees them do those things. The same kind of thing, man. Like, those guys will reflect what's going on the floor. So hearing Hubie Brown lose it, watching that, and then I've watched that so many times, and I'm still like, how? Like, how did that work? And I'm sure LeBron feels the same way.
That was one where Taj and Joakim were both right there for the tip-in. Like, they didn't even think that was going in.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
It was crazy, dog. It was crazy. Like, no, special. And it was just great hearing Ayo said that, as you stated, man. It was great. It was great.
Indeed. George in the comments asking, did we talk about Modest yet? Nope, that's coming up soon. Talking about Ayo talking Rose after practice today. Maddie saying Dragic dunk, my favorite. Matt saying, I remember staying up as a kid to watch that buzzer beater versus the Bucks. Insane. Yeah. What were you going to say, Dave?
Shout out to Trey, who's saying, he loves the new time right now because he lives in Phoenix.
Hey.
So now he can watch more of this live.
Yeah.
Thank you,
so, 5:30 switch to 4 from 4 o'clock. We're going to be doing this until we actually start getting into season mode. And then, obviously, most 7 p.m. Central Time tips will be here at 6:30.
We'll be here.
So all you West Coast people.
We got 100 people watching right now. 100 people.
100 people here. Can we get them likes up in here?
Spike like.
Hit the like for Kev. Hit the like for Troll Joe.
Troll Joe wants
He's
the
still
thumbs.
lurking.
He's still lurking.
He still wants it.
Troll Joe wants the thumbs.
Yeah.
Always, man.
Of course he does.
And forever.
Speaking of, I did have a little text back and forth with Joe between last night and this morning.
How's he doing?
He's good. I told him, crazy times at CHGO, all good.
Yeah.
Thinking about you, miss you, going well.
Mm-hmm.
Hope the move went well. Hope the first week of the new gig has started strong. He said, appreciate it. Thinking of you, missing you guys too. Crazy week for me, for sure, but enjoying it so far.
Okay.
Then he said, hope media day went well. Everything I saw looked awesome. Produced stuff great too. Much love always.
Aww.
There it is.
Oh,
Chatty Spathis checking in.
Chatty Spathis checking in.
Hit that thumb for Troll Joe.
Troll Joe.
Okay, guys. Kev, do you want to throw that clip up on Jalen Smith talking after practice today, and then we could talk about what he said after the break?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
That's smart.
Pretty much, the main goal is just opportunity. I see obviously it's a team that's rebuilding. I want to be a part of that as a young guy, still trying to learn my way in the league. And pretty much the pitch for them here was just to be a basketball player and just come in and play. And that's something that attracted me a lot. And then obviously I got history with Kobe and Ayo and Taylor and all of them. So it was no brainer at that point.
What is your history with those guys?
Obviously just AAU, playing with Ayo and AAU in college, Kobe, AAU college, camps and all that. Taylor the same thing. So pretty much we was all the same draft class. So not draft class, but 2018.
Right. We watched you obviously in your career fight against the Bulls. What do you think you can bring to this team here?
Just a whole lot of versatility. Just that energy, effort, and intensity. Obviously being a young guy, being athletic, I feel as though that one of my prides is just running up and down the court. And a lot of big men in the league don't like running. So I feel that's going with our identity this year is playing fast is going to help a lot.
That was Bulls newcomer Jalen Smith talking after today's practice. Before we go to break real quick, just initial impression from Jalen so far. We didn't really get to hear from him at Media Day.
Yeah, I liked him. He's a smart guy. Clearly somebody who's motivated to come in and find a role for himself and be a part of this new thing that the Bulls are building. So I think he's going to be fun to cover this year.
Yeah, I like how you talked about how he immediately fits in to what they want to do. So
his skill set is really perfect for what they're trying to build.
Yeah, I believe it.
I couldn't help but notice that he did use the word rebuilding in his comments, and I was like, ooh. Has he not been given the party line yet?
He's new.
We're not really using that word around here right now. We're trying to win every game, buddy.
We don't like our words around here. Man.
Yeah, but I found a lot of what he had to say fascinating. So we'll dive into more of what we heard from Jalen Smith at practice today right after this break. Stick around.
Oh, everybody likes to embrace chill.
Mm-hmm.
But something that can help you embrace it even more is our people with Z-Biotics, ladies and gentlemen. It's Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink. It's an awesome thing, ladies and gents. Is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists and not just regular scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. No. It is It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough start the next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make Z-Biotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, ladies and gentlemen, and you'll feel better in the morning. Oh, it is an awesome thing that you should be using. We have it around here in the office. I'm taking some home because, yes, I'm going to need me some prebiotics, ladies and gentlemen. I kept hearing about that prebiotic, and I wondered, what is it actually like? So I'm going to take it on home, and I'm going to try it out, and I'm going to come home, and I'm going to come back. I'm going to tell y'all exactly how it works, all right? That is a promise from me to you. And with their GMO technology, they will release different products that helps address toxic byproducts of modern living in the gut. Go to zbiotics.com/CHGO Bulls to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use that code CHGO Bulls at checkout. ZBiotics is back with 100% money back guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they will refund that money and won't ask no questiones. ZBiotics, take care of yourself in the morning.
And what better ad to pair with that one than by shouting out our friends at Coors Light? Coors Light! Between work, social media, stressing about what's going on behind the scenes at Bulls training camp practices, and all the choices life throw our way, it's no wonder we get a little worked up sometimes. I know I can. I'm guilty of it. Coors Light celebrates rising above all of the noise, all the stress, and the hectic parts of life and choosing a chill mindset. Why not turn a rained-out barbecue into the 15,000th annual jointly hosted Will the Go Gottlieb / Troll Joe karaoke party? Or after a tough loss, settle the score with an ice-cold peace offering. Bulls will have to do a lot of that. Make the choice to choose chill, then reach for a Coors Light. It's mountain cold refreshment, crisp as the Colorado Rockies. I'm going to say Rockies with my Chicago accent because I can't say it the way Dave says it.
It worked with that mustache. Let me just tell you.
Colorado Rockies, y'all.
Oh, that works.
When you embrace a chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill. Crack open a Coors Light. Crisp and refreshing as those Colorado Rockies. Make the most of the times you choose chill and choose Coors Light. Get it delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Basketball. That's CoorsLight.com/CHGO Basketball. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
How do you say that with a Chicago accent?
Yeah.
Colorado. Yo,
shout out to Orlando Cruz. I love this, what he said right there. A sports show where a host wears shorts, sandals, shout out to the Berks, and is sponsored by pre-hangover supplements, weed, beer, bedding, and coolers. What a time to be alive. You have told no lies, Orlando. This job is amazing.
Orlando gets it.
He gets it.
Hey.
Shout out to you, friend. Shout out to you, man.
It's not the worst.
It's not.
Try all of the wonderful products that we're peddling to y'all.
They are wonderful products.
Also sponsored by Blue Chew.
Oh,
hey.
You got them blues. Don't get them twos, baby. Come on now. Love it.
Okay, so going back to Jalen Smith, people in the comments, Rob saying Smith's going to win the starting job, in my opinion, if there is a true battle and not Billy giving it to the vet.
Slow down.
Rob, hate to break it to you.
Slow down.
Vooch, you're starting.
But
I know what you're like. If it was a true battle, then maybe, well, even still.
He's still better.
It doesn't matter. It's a non-factor. What if Billy said, screw whatever instructions I'm getting from on high, I'm going to go with my gut and I want to start Jalen Smith and not Vooch? Not happening.
No.
It's not happening.
But Vooch is better. Let me just say that. Vooch is better. Until Jalen Smith can show he can consistently get you 16 or 18 and 11 with about 4 or 5 assists, then He
also said Smith had the nickname Twigs because he was so skinny.
Sticks.
Now he's called, Sticks is actually what it was. Now he's called Logs, LOL. I did see, just like in that video you posted, Will, it looks like his frame has filled out a little bit from what I remember. I do remember Jalen Smith being a bit on the skinnier side, but the thing that I think he said that was most on point that Bulls fans would be happy to hear is the stuff about how when he was asked, what are you going to bring to this team? And he said one of the things he prides himself on is running up and down the floor. He said a lot of the bigs in this league don't like to run. I like to run, and that's exactly what the Bulls are going to be trying to do. So he's maybe filled out and gotten a little bit more muscular since when he first entered the league, but he still has the athletic ability to be a quick big, which the Bulls have really been sorely lacking.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Dave. He's not going to be putting up the numbers that Vooch is putting up, but does he complement the rest of the core pieces in a way that helps them get better? And I think the answer to that is, that's the bet the Bulls are making. They feel like, he can. So not to say he's going to start over Vooch. I don't think that's going to be the case. Not to say he's going to supplant Vooch at any point this year as the starter. I don't know that that's going to be the case either, but I do think that the Bulls were intentional about signing him. He's 24 years old. He's, kind of a tweener, historically speaking, but now obviously more of a 5. But that's just to say, like, a little bit. He's not 7 feet tall. He's probably like 6'8", 6'9". Yeah. But he's a shot blocker. He's an offensive rebounder. Last year, he stretched out his range and became a much better three-point shooter. We're going to have to see if that sustains, and we can talk more about that. But he can
the Bulls
switch.
Got him now, so clearly no.
He can switch onto the perimeter. He can, like I said, catch lobs and attack the rim and get above the rim. Yeah. So he just fits, I think, with what a lot of the guards on this team need. They need floor spacing. They need a good roll man. They need rim protection behind them because they're not great defensive players. I think he can provide a lot of that. So is he going to be as productive as Vooch? Is he as good as Vooch in a vacuum? No, probably not. But I do think that the Bulls are starting to think a little bit longer term here. Yeah. And is this a guy that can be around with some of these younger pieces that are also 24 years old, 25 years old? Yeah. I think the answer to that is like, yeah, if all goes well, I think he can be one of those pieces.
Yeah, and honestly, I like him more so coming off the bench because I think the Bulls have an opportunity to have a pretty good second unit. Just at least a second unit that's a little electrifying is the word I want to use. That one that can, get up and down the floor, just like they want to do, with their starting lineups and everything. But the fact that they have all these guards, and guys are going to have to get time to get in there. Plus, you still got Torrey Craig, on your team. And you still got these other – plus, you still got Modest on your squad. And you want guys to get this time in the game. I think that second unit will open up a lot of opportunities for guys because they will be running. And, of course, Lonzo is not going to be looking to score. He's going to be looking to pass off, and find other guys. So I think their second unit and with Jalen Smith and the other guys that they have – will be very entertaining for the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, and I think they're going to do a lot of staggering. Like, if the starting lineup is what we think it is, Kobe, Giddey, Zach, Patrick, Vooch.
Correct.
Maybe you leave Zach or Kobe out there and you bring Ayo and Modest and Lonzo in to play along with Jalen Smith. Now you're running. You got more shooting. You got more floor spacing. You've got guys that can make plays. And again, you need somebody back there who's going to clean up some of the mess. Drummond was a really productive piece for the Bulls last year. He really was.
Sure.
And I think having a guy who can kind of grow into a role with some of these younger players makes a lot of sense. To me, like the big question is going to be his shooting. 2 years ago, in 22-23, he shot 28% on threes. Last year, 42.5%. Woo! That's a massive increase.
Massive.
It's also, the year before that, it was like 37. So he's been very inconsistent up and down throughout his career. Obviously he can shoot, but I asked him like, what was the difference? And he said, I just stopped caring if they went in or not. Like I just had to stop
caring.
Philosophy. That's a wonderful philosophy.
Like you just
Chuck him up
can't
there.
let the last shot affect you. And so I think
get him up.
And I was asking him like, how much is playing with Tyrese Halliburton helping getting you open looks? And he's like, yeah, obviously he's an all-star guard, but like, I like the way that Giddey and Kobe and Ayo draw attention. And I feel like I can either roll or pop. They're going to draw gravity and create opportunities for me too. So I think he gets it. He kind of understands the assignment. But the one thing I'll say about him is that he brought up several times opportunity, being on the court, being on the court, being on the court. Like he is after minutes right now. And I think you like that with a backup center.
Let me ask you, do you find, or I shouldn't say do you find, do you think that he will have opportunity at multiple positions when he's coming off the bench? Because obviously he's the backup center. But can you see a world where he is like maybe playing the 4 and the Bulls are like trying to run a small ball kind of thing lineup?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I think the Bulls are going to be –
That's what I'm saying.
The Bulls are going to have to get creative this year. I think they're going to have to try some new stuff out. Obviously in the past, and we always talk about this. A lot of people talk about this. Bill even talked about it at Media Day. Like the Dennis Schroeder, Chris Paul, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander 3-guard lineup, the 3-guard lineups that he's run in the past year. Like the 2 big lineups that he ran last year with Drummond and Vooch together. I think maybe I should just ask Billy this. I don't think though that he is like, I love having 3 guards out there. I love having 2 bigs out there. I want that. Yeah. I think he's like, what's the personnel that I have and how do I best maximize them? Yeah. So if he feels like Jalen Smith is better at a 4 or can benefit by playing off of Vooch, or he feels like he needs supplemental rim protection, or maybe Pat goes down or something, and Modest isn't ready for bigger minutes, and they don't want to play Torrey Craig because they want to prioritize the young guys. Like the Bulls have some 4s now. They have some 3s. Like they're going to need to play those guys. Yeah. But they don't have really a backup 5 or a center of the future. And again, I'm not saying Vooch is gone. I don't think that's the case. I still think he's going to be productive, and I think he's actually going to play better in this system
I agree.
next year, as I've said before.
I agree.
But I do think the Bulls have started to think a little bit longer term here. And so finding ways to get creative with that, to give him more minutes, to expand his game, to help cover up some of the weaknesses in Vooch's game, or, you know, the defensive, you know, resistance problem that the Bulls are going to have on the perimeter, to have a shot blocker down there, I think will be important. And he's going to be looking for ways to play that guy.
And yeah, as you said, Will, he himself is looking for minutes and wants to play it. His comment about the pitch the Bulls made him in free agency and why he chose. He said, and we, you know, it was in that clip. He said the pitch from the Bulls was just come here, play basketball, come in and play, and that attracted me. So clearly he's looking for a role on this team.
I just wrote a whole thing about him from after practice. So if you want to read more about it, go check that out at allchgo.com. But I straight up asked him, like, do you view yourself as the center of the future on this team? And he said, time will tell. At the end of the day, whenever I'm on the court, I'm going to be on the court. I'm going to play hard, and for how long I'm on the court, and be a great teammate when I'm off of it. But like he said multiple times, like, it's all about being on the court. Like, I want to be in a place where they value me and where I can play. Like that matters to him.
All right. With that, let's shift to Modest. Let's spend the last 20 minutes of the show talking Modest.
Yes.
Cameron Unch in the comments saying this team might not get a lot of wins, but they'll be a lot of fun to watch. Fun bad. TM.
Fun
Big Dave. Cameron also then saying Buzelis gives me legit hope for the Bulls. Speaking of some of the young pieces that they've collected, and the Bulls brass are hoping to build with and build around in the years to come. Billy clarified some previous comments about Modest Buzelis and his role his rookie year, because when he said some of that stuff on the 670 interview, I literally was like, Big Dave, hold my beer.
Yeah,
I'm coming at him.
No, I put your beer down because I was right with you.
But he then said this, thank you, Kev. There's no question he, Modest, is getting on the floor for us. He's got certainly the potential, the upside to get better. I think that we would look at it organizationally of what's best for his development. If it meant him going down to the G League and that was good for him, we'd be open to it. That's Billy Donovan at training camp clarifying the previous comments about Modest potentially playing for the Windy City Bulls this season, despite the fact that he spent the entirety of last year playing for the G League Ignite and was the number 11 overall pick in this draft. Yeah. What do you think, Dave?
Could you do me a favor and put that comment back up, please, for me, sir? There's no question he's getting on the floor for us. He's got it, certainly, the potential, the upside to get better. Stop. That's it. I don't need to hear anything else. Everything else didn't matter to me that he said after that. No question, he's getting on the floor, and he's going to play. You see the potential. You see the skill. You know what he can do. That's all I needed to hear. Everything else for me was coach speak after that. So he's going to play. And I love the fact Billy revisited because, again, Matt and I were not pleased with that statement that he had about, we'll explore everything. No, you will not. You will not explore everything when it comes to him. He will not spend 1 second in the G League if it's up to me. He shouldn't see the G League ever again. This is exactly where he came from. You don't send him back to his previous home where he was at. He is here to play in the NBA and learn the NBA. And he will learn it also sitting on the bench, talking to the coaches, talking to the players, getting the experience of the fans, being on the road with those guys as well, learning that. Billy talks a lot about getting routines and those things like that. And when he was saying that, I said in my head, yeah, maybe that's great for a guy like Patrick Williams who was eating those 85 chicken parms before the games and stuff like that. That's great. But Modest ain't like that at all, at least from the conversations I've had and all the things I've read. Modest has got a routine down. He is just trying to play basketball and get better at that. And he wants to be in the league. So he already has that established. So I appreciate Billy coming back, reversing, you know what I'm saying, and putting a little correction on that right there. But like I said, after that stuff I just read, the rest of it for me, K-Dub, Goat, Matt, was straight up coach speak, bro. Like, I don't need to hear nothing else.
What does that last sentence mean? When your buddies go, oh, yeah, I'm open to it. They don't want to do it. They don't want to do it.
And they ain't.
You want to go to the bar? I'm open to it.
No,
that's not a ringing endorsement. No.
Yo, that's real right there.
So he had a different quote in this explanation saying the point was we would be open to doing whatever we needed to do to develop him.
You're done.
But what did you make of the other thing that Billy said about, I think people always look at development, the development piece of minutes played, and there's a lot more to it than that. Because I think Bulls fans who want to see Modest play, that's why some of us reacted the way we did. We're like, you telling us that Modest ain't getting minutes? Because Modest better be getting some minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they recognize that, like, he is a raw prospect here. He's obviously talented. He's obviously got upside. There's clearly, like, I mean, Billy said it, like, when you see him play, like, the athleticism pops. It's there. He's an athletically gifted player. And Ayo mentioned that today, too. He was like, you know, we were asking him, is Modest the most athletic player on the team? And he was like, I can make a strong argument. And we were like, what, Zach LaVine?
I remember
and he was
that.
like, I can make a strong argument.
Right.
Like, he is a special athlete. And so I think you see those things and you see the way that he played in the G League last year. And yeah, of course you want to see him out there. And I think the Bulls do too, but they also don't want to overwhelm him by saying, go play 30 minutes a game, figure out the reads, figure out how to play and exist within this offense. Billy was like, he may not have a lot of chances to dunk, but you know what he's going to have a lot of time to do? Get back and play defense.
Correct.
Like, he's got to understand the concepts. He's got to understand the reads and the schemes and how to execute, because like the Bulls are trying to be like a cohesive team. They may not win a championship this year, but they are trying to be a team that like competes and plays NBA basketball. And in order to do that, you have to have players that understand the assignment defensively. And so I think it's like, you know, and Billy also mentioned the routine part. It's like in the G League, yes, you're playing games, but the season is much shorter. You have like 6 days off between games. It's not the same thing. And so I think developing him, getting him in the weight room, making sure that he just bulks up a little bit, letting the game slow down so that he's not playing everything based on his athleticism. He's got to learn some counter moves. He's got to be able to like read how defenses are playing him so that he doesn't just turn it over every time. I just think that they want to set him up for success. And did they communicate that properly or the most effective way that they possibly could have the first time around? Probably not. But I do think that they're handling this the right way. This is not, as we've talked about before, I think Jason and Ricky talked about this on Cash Considerations too.
Shout out.
It's like, it's not a Caleb Williams situation where they're just putting him out there from snap number one and saying, go take us to the playoffs.
Right.
It's like they're being a little bit more patient and careful here. They're not trying to overwhelm him. Because they feel like they want to put him in the best situation long term. Because again, that's I think what they're thinking about.
But I think the more that they play, more he plays, and the more things they find out, they'll figure out the kind of player that they have. This isn't a guy that is mentally, you know, needs some help. You know what I'm saying? Or things like that. He doesn't need that at all, bro. Like, he just needs the opportunity. He already thinks in his mind, I'm the best out here.
Right.
I'm the best going. I just need the opportunity to be out there on the floor so I can showcase it for everyone and so I can learn it for everyone. But I think everything you were just saying right there is correct, Will. And I think they'll recognize that very soon. Billy is really good at recognizing that stuff in those young players, because I've talked about Ayo a million times, you know, just how he recognized it very quickly, like, oh, this dude has got it like that. He should be out there playing on the floor. And he was. I think he's going to realize that stuff in Modest. I like the fact that Modest is in a position to where he can get playing time, because it's not like they're deep at the four.
Yeah.
They're not. The guys are going to be hybrids out here. Patrick Williams, Torrey Craig, and there you go. You know what I mean? Everything else he can compete for. He can compete against a Jalen Smith, you know what I'm saying, for that kind of playing time. He can compete against a Sonogo for that kind of playing time. And he should be doing those things, man. He is that good and that awesome, and I just can't wait to see him. Watching him do those alley-oops with Lonzo Ball on the IG of the Bulls was awesome.
And look, like I liked the fact that his response when Modest was asked about this whole playing in the G League, playing for Windy City stuff, was simultaneously like great teammate speak, and then he threw in at the end a little bit of that Modest cockiness that we're already getting to know. Because he said, I'm going to listen to the organization. If they tell me I got to be in the G League, I'm going to be in the G League. And you know, that's fine with me, but I'm going to work my way up to the top team. Of course.
Yes.
The fact that he threw the words "of course" in there, I was like, yeah, that's a very modest answer. He's like, yeah, okay, you want to talk G League right now?
Right.
We can talk G League right now.
I'll do what they need me to do. I'll do whatever happens.
Everything for the team first. I'll fall in line. I'm great at following instructions, but yeah, F that. Of course I'm going to be on the big boy team.
Exactly, man. Like, everything about him and everything he has said and continue to say shows that, improves that, Matt. And I'm just excited to watch him get out there and play. I don't know how much Billy truly knows about that young man as far as his routine and how he goes about, you know, getting ready and preparing, you know, for a basketball game. But everything I've heard about him and everything I've, you know, had a conversation with him about has shown that, no, I am able to be out here and I got this routine down. I want the opportunity. Give me 2 minutes, give me 4, whatever minutes you want to give me the opportunity to be out there on the floor and showcase it to you. But you can't send that to the G League because you know what you got.
Yeah.
You know who he is, man.
Yeah.
You know the athleticism he has. You know the skill he has. It's all about the three-point shooting. It is simply about that with him. You don't send that to the G League just because of three-point shooting, dog. No. You keep him right here, let him figure it out, let him learn from the veterans, man. And I don't know. This is why I'm so excited talking about him because just I know what I'm seeing and I know what I'm looking at. And I see that athleticism and I see that goon just everywhere in that young fella right there, man. So I'm excited.
Flip side of the comment saying modest. That is that the nickname is going to stay? He's so modest. Rob saying hot take, modest ends up better than flag. Yeah. That is a hot take,
that is
sir.
A hot
Paul saying looking forward to his trash talk
though.
As well.
I don't hate it.
No, not at all.
I don't hate it, bro.
There was also an interesting thing said after practice today when you guys were chatting with Ayo Goat. I saw a tweeted from you and a couple other people, I think Darnell as well. The question was, who's the most athletic guy on this roster? And Ayo was like, I don't even count Zach. That dude's a 2-time dunk contest winner, like clearly Zach. But he said, modest. What did you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, he was talking about Julian Phillips too. He was talking about Zach, but he was just talking about like these plays where Modest will just throw down a dunk in transition or something. And it's like, wow, that guy's got a different level of athleticism. And I think like if anybody's gone to a gym and like seen NBA players playing against like normal humans, they just like float. They're like on a different level athletically than a normal human being.
Yeah.
And then you have guys that look like that against other NBA players.
Yeah.
And I feel like Modest is kind of at that level. Like I saw a video of today, he just like was like jumping around during warmups of Summer League.
Yeah.
And he like just knocked his head against the backboard, like on purpose, like kind of like just being silly.
Insanity.
It's like, my God, this guy is just insane. So obviously Julian Phillips, 44-inch vertical, like led the combine the last 2 years.
Correct.
But I think Modest is right up there. And I think he's just going to be an exciting player. And I think that's ultimately what we're all talking about when we're saying we don't want to see him in the G League.
Yeah.
Because like we want to see that excitement on a team developing young players up here. But I think the Bulls are just trying to be careful. I would not be surprised if he never plays for the G League this year. Like I don't know the answer, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think the Bulls are throwing him to the Wolves just yet.
Yeah, like no, the G League shouldn't even be in their thought.
No,
for that young fella, dog, he got to play.
Just a quick update for those of you on YouTube wondering, hey, this graphic of Modest has been up for a while. We do have some issues with our cameras that maybe have been overheated. Our guy Kevin Wells hard at work to repair that, but in the meantime, it sounds based on the comments that are still coming in live on the sidebar that you guys can still hear us and the mics are good. So we will let Kev continue to work on that while we continue talking Modest.
Goat has taken his shirt off.
These people in the comments, Orlando, I get the hungry energy vibe from Modest that I did from Joakim as a rookie. Don't you do that to me, Orlando.
Don't do that to him.
Don't you do that to me.
Oh.
I really hope he brings at least 80% of that. So you're saying we're gonna see Modest get suspended not by the team but by his teammates his rookie year because of all of his bravado?
Man, dude,
oh man.
He's gonna be awesome, man. Like I really think he's gonna be, because he has it mentally. Like everybody has skill, everybody has talent, everybody who is in the NBA can play.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is the mentality. You know what I mean? And 90% mental, 10% physical. A lot of it is the mentality. Everything from day one, Matt, which when I talked about this young dude, had to do with his mentality. And I was just in love with him from that point immediately. Obviously, you saw the skill. Obviously, you saw the talent, and you know what he did. But it was just hearing him speak, hearing him talk, and knowing how he, approached the game. And it's not even a cockiness. It's a confidence. It's a fine line to walk confidence and cockiness. And he is just very confident because he's not cocky about it. You know what I mean? Like, say, a Draymond Green or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not a cockiness to him. Like, I'm very confident. I truly believe I'm the best out here. Yeah, I'm going to talk crap to you when I dunk on you in your face. Yeah, I'm going to look at you like that. No, we ain't friends right now. We ain't got none of that stuff going on. But watch how he plays.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no cockiness. Like, I got to get my shots. You know what I mean? I got to get these up right here. No, it's here. I will happily pass the ball and go rebound and get these steals and then get out on the break. So understanding those little tiny aspects of the game now is why I'm like, he shouldn't see a second in the G League because he's learned it already. Yeah. He's got to get out there. He's got to just either be on the bench or he's got to be on the floor. One or the other.
Rob saying Maz would make a great reservoir dog. Cameron saying he is 1,000% goon material.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like obviously, I think for the most part, Bulls fans
he's got to be the early favorite for
goon of the season with the most individual
early predictions,
game victories.
Over under 6.
And look, sort of along the same lines of him saying, "Hey, look, if the team tells me I'm going to go play in the G League, fine, but come on,
guys,
I'm going to be out there."
Come on.
When I'm not sure if it was you or somebody else on the beat asked Modest if he knows his role yet, and this was in your write-up about Modest earlier today, Will. His answer was, quote, "No, not really right now, but I'm going to be prepared. That's all I know."
Yeah.
Which, again, that's just like, that's very confident stuff coming from a rook.
And let me ask you, just in those conversations and seeing him speak and having that opportunity to talk to him, and we've had, a few opportunities to speak to him and talk to him. Flex. I got you. Having those opportunities to do that, like, what is your mental takeaway, from that, just hearing what this young man is saying?
Yeah, I think he just kind of is who we already know he is, right? Like, he's just a very confident kid who's got a ton of talent. And I think there's a reason people were talking about him, at this time last year as the potential number 1 overall pick. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a reason he slipped all the way to 11. Yeah. There's stuff he needs to work on. He is raw. Sure. Like, there is, I think, a ways for him to go. But clearly, and I've said this before, the upside is there in terms of star equity. Like, there aren't that many players, and we all know and love Kobe, the leap that he took last year. Mm-hmm. Same for Ayo. But, like, there aren't a lot of guys on this roster that you could point to and say, this guy could be the best player on a championship team. Mm-hmm. And I think when you look at 6'10" frame, ball handling, athleticism, jumping out the gym, ability to create his own shot, like, that's the outlines of what could potentially be a star player. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe the odds of that are 2%.
Yeah.
But, like, you have to explore that, because if you're in a situation right now where you're, like, quote unquote rebuilding, mm-hmm. what you're doing is looking for a star player. That is the goal. If you don't have that star player, you don't have anything.
Bars.
That's like what you're going for. And so if you have a guy that has even a 2% chance of becoming a star, you have to explore that. And I think the Bulls know that. I mean, they could have taken Devin Carter and gone the, like, safe role player route.
Yeah.
And I think Devin Carter's going to be a good player.
He is.
They could have, like, gone a different direction, but they chose this guy. And obviously the talent is there, the upside is there, but I do agree with them. And obviously, like, just my take watching him is he's very raw, and he's going to take a lot of time and patience. And 2% star equity means 98% not. And so what does he turn into if he doesn't become a star?
Right.
How does he become a valuable secondary piece or a role player that can shoot consistently and attack closeouts and play defense and protect the rim? He's got to learn a lot of how to do all that stuff. I think the Bulls are trying to lay the foundation for him to be able to just learn that stuff without having the pressure of, you're the franchise quarterback now, take us to the playoffs. Right. And I think that's, like, the right approach for a guy who, I mean, if he had 15% star equity or 25%, maybe this is a different conversation. But I do think they're kind of taking the right approach here. Like I said, I don't know the answer. It would not surprise me if Modest never goes to the G League. It would not surprise me if he plays all 82 games. Like, I'm not saying that the Bulls are going to do that, but I do think they're just trying to be a little bit judicious.
Cautious and judicious.
Judicious. Love talking Modest. Everybody in the comments, thanks for chiming in with your thoughts on Modest. We're all excited to watch him play. That's it for today. We are out of time. Apologies again for the technical difficulties with our cameras towards the back end of the show. Thank you, everybody, for still tuning in live on YouTube to listen to us, even though you didn't get to see the beautiful quaff, the beautiful Big Dave.
But you hear the vocal tones.
We'll get it fixed.
Of Matt Peck, Big Dave, and we'll go Gottlieb. And K-Dub.
Same time, same place tomorrow, 5:30 Central Time. Another live episode, another day breaking down Bulls training camp. Until then, follow Will _Gottlieb for his updates. Read his stuff, allchgo.com. Big Dave is at Balby, AWL Sports on Bulls _Pack. We are CHGO _Bulls. Shout and thanks to our guy on the controls, the one and only Kevin Wells.
K-Dub!
We'll get those cameras fixed. I promise. I promise.
We'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Have a great night, Bulls Nation. See you right. Be good.
Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.